Assalamu alaikum. This is Shahrukh Mujumdar welcoming you to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the top stories. Chief Adviser Professor Muhammad Yunus directs armed forces to carry out duties to ensure participatory, intimidation-free and fair election. Three, including former DMP Commissioner Habibur, sentenced to death in case of killing 6 in Chankarpur during July uprising. Postal ballots being sent within country from today, informs Election Commission Senior Secretary. Certain candidates of particular political party conducting election campaigns exploiting religious sentiments, alleges BNP. Jamaat to ensure dignity and security for women at home and outside home if gets chance to run the state, says Jamaat Amir. Winter cold, rains and malnutrition killing people in even fourth month of ceasefire in Gaza. And Bangladesh set target of 137 runs against England in Super 6 of Under-19 World Cup in Bulawayo of Zimbabwe. Those were the top stories. Now moving on to the details. Chief Adviser Professor Muhammad Yunus directed the armed forces to carry out their duties through professionalism, impartiality and inter-institutional coordination to ensure a participatory, intimidation-free and fair election. The Chief Adviser gave these instructions at a view exchange meeting with senior officers of the armed forces on the occasion of the upcoming 13th National Parliamentary election and referendum at the Army headquarters today. At the meeting, Professor Muhammad Yunus mentioned the glorious and responsible role of the armed forces in various needs of the country and expressed his sincere gratitude to the armed forces for maintaining law and order in the country with patience and professionalism for a long time. The meeting discussed the election and contemporary issues in detail. Senior military officers of the Army, Navy and Air Force and relevant invited guests were present at the meeting. Earlier, when Chief Adviser Professor Muhammad Yunus arrived at the venue, he was welcomed by Army Chief General Waqar-e-Zaman, Navy Chief Admiral M. Nazmul Hassan, Air Chief Marshal Hassan Mahmud Khan and Principal Staff Officer of the Armed Forces Division Lieutenant General S.M. Kamrul Hassan. The International Crimes Tribunal 1 has sentenced 3 of the 8 accused, including former Dhaka Metropolitan Police DMP Commissioner Habibur Rahman, to death and handed down varying prison terms to the remaining 5 in a crimes against humanity case over the killing of 6 people, including martyr Anas at Chankarpur in the capital during the July mass uprising. On August 5, 2024, police opened fire on a peaceful student movement in the Chankarpur area, resulting in numerous casualties. Those martyred that day included Anas, Sheikh Junaid, Muhammad Yaqub, Muhammad Rakib Hawladar, Muhammad Ismamul Haq and Manik Mia Sharik. Alongside Habibur Rahman, the other 2 sentenced to death are former DMP Joint Commissioner Sudeep Kumar Chakraborty and former Deputy Commissioner of Ramna Zone, Shah Alam Muhammad Akhtarul Islam. The tribunal also sentenced former Assistant Police Commissioner of Ramna Zone Muhammad Imrul to 6 years in prison, former officer in charge of Shahbag Police Station Arshad Hussain to 4 years and constables Muhammad Shujun, Muhammad Imaz Hussain Imun and Muhammad Nasirul Islam to 3 years each. The 3-member judicial panel of Tribunal 1, led by Justice Ghulam Murtuja Mujumdar, delivered the verdict today. The other 2 members of the panel are Justice Muhammad Shafiul Alam Mahmood and retired District and Sessions Judge Muhammad Mohitul Haq Anam Chaudhary. Among those sentenced to death, 3 convicts along with Assistant Police Commissioner Muhammad Imrul, are currently absconding, while the remaining convicted individuals are in custody. The tribunal took nearly 1 hour to read out the verdict. With this ruling, the International Crimes Tribunal has delivered the second verdict related to crimes against humanity committed during the July mass uprising following August 5th. However, the prosecution is not fully satisfied with the verdict. Chief Prosecutor Muhammad Islam expressed these during a media briefing after the judgment, stating that the prosecution will appeal to the Supreme Court seeking harsher sentences for those who received lesser punishment. Following the August 5th mass uprising, this was the first case filed with the International Crimes Tribunal concerning the July killings. After the case was filed, the investigation agency submitted its report on April 20th last year, following 6 months of investigation. The prosecution filed formal charges on May 25th of the same year, which the tribunal accepted on the same day and ordered the start of formal trial on July 14th. Testimonies began on August 11th with statements from 26 witnesses, including members of families of the July martyrs, July fighters, police personnel, and one of the key organizers of the July mass uprising and former advisor Asif Mahmoud Shojib Bhuiyan. After a lengthy 6-month trial process, the International Crimes Tribunal 1 delivered the verdict today, exactly 1 year, 5 months and 22 days after the Chankarpur killings. The verdict announcement was broadcasted live on Bangladesh television and the prosecution's Facebook page. Election Commission Senior Secretary Akhtar Ahmed said postal ballots are being sent within the country from today. He added that the results of the referendum and the parliamentary election will be announced together. He shared various aspects of the Election Commission's meeting with diplomats at a press conference held today at his office in the Election Commission at Agargaon in the capital today. He said the announcement of election results will be delayed due to the referendum. In response to journalists' questions about the absence of any visible action by the Election Commission over violations of the Code of Conduct, the Commission's secretary said candidates are able to carry out election campaigns because a level playing field exists. However, he urged that if there are any violations of the Code of Conduct, complaints should be lodged directly with the Electoral Inquiry Committee or the respective returning officer. Certain candidates of a particular political party, along with their leaders, activists and supporters, are conducting election campaigns by exploiting religious sentiments. This attempt to seek votes through the misinterpretation of religion is undesirable. BNP Election Steering Committee spokesperson and advisor to the BNP chairperson, Mahdi Amin, made these allegations today during a briefing at Gulshan in the capital today. He said efforts to influence voters by using religious beliefs and emotions are seriously undermining the transparency, neutrality, freedom and fairness of the election. He also called for the immediate adoption of effective measures in this regard. Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami Amir Dr. Shafiqur Rahman has said if entrusted with the responsibility of running the state, his party will ensure dignity and security for women at home, in public spaces and in workplaces. He said steps would also be taken to ensure that women can take part in social and state activities according to their qualifications. Dr. Shafiqur Rahman made the remarks while addressing an election rally at Shahid Abrar Fahad Stadium in Kushtia today, mentioning that people no longer want politics based on hollow promises. Shafiqur Rahman said unemployment would not be increased through unemployment allowances. Instead, unemployment would be reduced by ensuring job-oriented education and creating employment opportunities for the youth. Claiming that extortion would be eradicated and syndicates dismantled, he said it is possible to bring about visible change in the country within a year. The Jamaat Amid added that people will vote for the 11-party alliance to free the nation from extortion and all forms of oppression. A new milestone has been created in the trade relations between Bangladesh and the United States as a large consignment of wheat imported from the United States, weighing about 60,000 metric tons, is now at the Chattogram port. A special ceremony was organized at the Silo jetty of the Chattogram Port Food Department today to mark the arrival of the consignment. U.S. Ambassador to Bangladesh, Brent Christensen, was present as a chief guest at the event. He said, as a result of the MOU signed last July, Bangladesh has now become the 8th largest market in the world for U.S. wheat farmers. He hoped this import activity will play an important role in reducing the trade deficit between the two countries. The U.S. ambassador said the import of U.S. wheat is a victory for American farmers as well as Bangladeshi families. This is a unique example of the growing trade relations between the two countries. On January 19th, the MV Clipper, Isadora ship carrying 57,203 tons of wheat, reached the outer anchorage of the Chattogram port. The work of unloading 5,400 tons of wheat through two lighterage ships has started today. Food Secretary Muhammad Firoz Sharkar, Chattogram Port Chairman Rear Admiral SM Munir-Zaman, and senior officials of the Food Department were present, among others, at the event. The infrastructure development work of the Satkania Upazila Court building in Chattogram has started. Religious advisor Dr. AFM Khalid Hussain inaugurated the work today. He said, "This century-old court building is not just a courthouse, it is an important part of the history and heritage of the region." The advisor said once the development work of the court building is completed, a modern and safe environment will be ensured for judges, lawyers and litigants. President of the Satkania Bar Association, Advocate Muhammad Sulaiman, presided over, and Advocate Hafizul Islam Manik moderated, while additional civil court judge Arafatul Islam, Associate Professor of University of Chittagong, Syed Ahsan Khalid, Senior Vice President of the Lawyers Association, Advocate Mahmudul Haq Chaudhry, and other concerned persons addressed the occasion. Now, international news. Winter cold and rains as well as malnutrition are still killing people in Gaza despite the ceasefire being in its 4th month. The Palestinian Health Ministry said on Saturday that 10 children in Gaza have died from hypothermia since the beginning of the winter. A 3-month-old baby died from severe cold at Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in the past 24 hours, it added. Dr. Ahmed Al-Farah, head of the pediatrics department at Nasser Medical Complex in Khan Yunis, told news agencies earlier this month when temperatures fall, the most affected group is children. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said hundreds of thousands of people are staying in displacement sites and exposed to cold and rainy winter conditions. It added that strong winds had damaged hundreds of tents in the last week. At least 14 deaths across several U.S. states have been linked to a major winter storm, although in some cases, officials said it is too early to determine the cause of death. The storm has also left hundreds of thousands without power. Schools and roads across the country have been closed and flights have been cancelled. Warnings from the National Weather Service stretch from Texas in the south to New England in the northeast. At least 2 people have died of hypothermia in Louisiana, and other deaths linked to the storm have been reported in Texas, Tennessee, and Kansas. But in Tennessee, officials confirmed 3 weather-related fatalities, while 2 winter storm-related deaths have been reported in Louisiana. In Texas, police said the death of a man found at a petrol station may have been medical or weather-related or both. Also in Texas, a 16-year-old girl has been killed in a sledding accident. In Massachusetts, a woman died after being hit by a snow plow while police said a woman was found covered in snow in Kansas and may have succumbed to hypothermia. In New York City, Mayor Zohran Mamdani said at least 5 people lost their lives, but still too early to determine the causes of death. A ferry carrying more than 350 people has capsized off the southern Filipino province of Basilan, killing at least 15 people. The accident occurred after midnight on Monday as the passenger vessel MV Trisha Kirsten was en route to Jolo Island in southern Sulu after departing the port city of Zamboanga. The Philippines Coast Guard sources said the vessel, which had 332 passengers on record and 27 crew, issued a distress signal on Monday about 4 hours after it departed Zamboanga City. The ferry sank in good weather about 1 nautical mile from the island village of Baluk in Basilan province, where many of the survivors were initially taken, it added. Coast Guard Commander Romeldoa of southern Mindanao district told the news agencies that at least 316 people had been rescued so far, with 15 confirmed dead and 28 still unaccounted for.